Testing. Okay. Good morning and welcome to the Prescott Valley Chamber of Commerce quarterly breakfast. Really good to see you all here today. It is a big crowd and we are happy about that. That means you all want to learn what's happening in PV. And boy, do we have a lot of information to share with you today. But because it is a big crowd, we won't have a moment to go around and do self-introductions. So I'm going to ask our dignitaries, from the town and the county, etc., to please stand up so we can acknowledge them. So if you would, the mayor and council and supervisors, etc., really appreciate it. These people work hard for us and we totally appreciate it. And I appreciate you all having the interest in what's going on in Prescott Valley. This is a big deal. I'm going to ask you, if you have your cell phones on, to please turn them off. I always forget, and I know it's very embarrassing when you don't turn it off. The ambassadors are selling tickets for really neat scholarships. So they're going to still be able to wander around while our speakers are speaking. Marnie said, especially while she's speaking, feel free. She's good. Just buy the tickets. So in any case, it's for scholarships, and please make sure you do it, and we will be able to announce the 50-50 winner at the end. And we want to thank all of you again for coming this morning, but also our program sponsor, Arizona's Hometown Radio Group. Sanford Cohen is representing today. Our host, the event spot. Isn't this a wonderful location? And the food. Catering by Backburner Family Restaurant was delicious today. Exceptional, in fact. And Prescott Valley TV for recording this today is really appreciated. I'm Allison Flannery, and I am a volunteer at the Chamber, and I've been working with Marnie on the quarterly breakfast for the Chamber for many years. And yeah, and I was doing it before, so it's been a long time, and it is just something that is very important to me because of all the knowledge that gets shared with the business community at the breakfast. It's very important. So you came to hear the speakers, not me. So I would like to first introduce Marnie Yule, CEO of the Prescott Valley Chamber of Commerce.
Hello, everybody, and good morning. Our very first quarterly breakfast that you actually had to rise in the dark. But coming up next year in January, we're changing things up, and we're actually having a State of the Town luncheon. So January 30th, mark your calendars. We're changing it up to a little bit and doing a real special luncheon, featured presentations, on partnership with the town of Prescott Valley and the Chamber. So again, first of all, thank you for coming this morning. We did have sellouts, so wonderful. Business leaders in the community coming together, mixing it up with our elected officials, talking about how we're making Prescott Valley better and better each and every single day. And the people that we have speaking do that every single day. So looking forward to hearing our speakers and presenters for today. But a couple of things. On your tables, hot off the presses, is the Community Profile and Business Directory published by the Prescott Valley Chamber in partnership with Atlantic Communications. Note the beautiful picture on the front. Gorgeous, right? Cody Chewing, he was a photographer, allowed us to use this for the directory, and we are very proud of this publication. So please, we have a lot of them. Take them to your place of business, have them in your waiting room, have them in your reception area, show them off, and obviously as business members you are included in this directory, so please grab those. Also on your table is invitations for our inaugural Veterans Appreciation Luncheon, November the 9th. It's a Thursday, November the 9th. We'll be having it here. It is free to all veterans, so if you know of any veterans or you have family, we'd love them to join us because of the sponsorships. Credit Union West, you're here in the house. Capstone Homes and Lawhorn Plumbing and multiple other people are donating the money to provide the free lunches for veterans. So it was, first of all, opened out to our business membership, and now we're opening up to the general public. So we're looking forward to a wonderful event that day, and it'll be a nice, real nice ceremony appreciating and thanking our veterans with colors, presenting of the colors, and then a keynote speech by Stan Goligoski, who is a U.S. Army veteran. So that's coming up. Also, Kim, raise your hand, working on the holiday events. We've got Winter Spectacular, Flying High Turkey Drive. Valley of Lights opens on November the 23rd. So we have 38 magical nights that you can drive through. We're working on a variety, and we say that it's a lot of work. We have volunteers every night. Linda Gummer, you're here. Thank you for every year you do it. You and Buzz are always there. And any of the rest of you that have businesses that have volunteered and signed up, it's a great way to spend the evening with your team, your family, a lot of bonding. I've got my Carrie and Jean Lupa, crazy bunch of us ladies are going to be out there one night working the booth. So again, a lot of fun. It's coming up on our 50th. I want to thank our legacy investors already. Our most recent one is Fane Signature Group in our Legacy 50 group that's celebrating the Chamber's 50th anniversary. And with that, I looked around, and I don't have any standing current board members here this morning. Lots of things going on. But I do have some past board members that always are making and continuing to support the Chamber in a variety of ways, and we appreciate that. So one of them is past President Sanford Cohen. And then I have a past chairwoman, Erin Vriedeveld. So thank you for that and continuing. And then again, I want to thank the people that I work with that make it so easy, seamlessly, and that is my staff, Kim, Katie, Gloria, and April. Please raise your hand over there. That are truly the backbone and make it all happen. So they just make me really, really, really look good. Okay. That's all I have to say for now. I'm really excited about our speakers. Again, I want to welcome Diana Soto, who's the newest member of the Town of Prescott Valley Economic Development Specialist, working over there with Cutter. So welcome her. She's a past chamber gal, so she gets what this kind of thing is like, and so we're glad to have her as part of our chamber and economic development community. So with that, I will turn it back over to Allison, who's going to introduce our speakers, and let's thank Allison for all her work on all these years.
My pleasure, Marnie. Okay, yes, we do have an incredibly good lineup of speakers today. Let me just say who they're going to be, and then I'll invite up the first speaker. We're first going to hear from Dr. Anthony Torres from Dignity Health and Yavapai Regional Medical Center, Maury Thompson, County Manager, Yavapai County, possibly Frank Sanderson, Director of quite for sure. Okay. Frank Sanderson, Director of Northwest Division APS, and Brad Fane, President, CEO of Fane Signature Group, and Sanford Cohen, President, CEO, and economist from Arizona's Hometown Radio Group. What a lineup. So again, we are very eager to hear what they have to say. There's a couple of PowerPoints involved. Our first speaker is Dr. Anthony Torres, MD, CEO from Dignity Health, Yavapai Regional Medical Center. Please come on up.
Great. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Marnie. And thank you, everybody, for attending today and for having me represent Dignity Health at YRMC. It's a pleasure to be here, and we'll go ahead and start off with our comments here. I've been in this community since 2006. I was an internist practicing in Northern California before I came here. I was in private practice and then helped establish the physician employed group for YRMC. I practiced up until about 2014 when I started taking over the administrative role with the employed physician group, and then ultimately in the hospital. I was a chief medical officer from 2016 up until last year, 22, and then took over as CEO and president in my current role. We are changing up our kind of philosophy and partnering with our community business people and our locations as we grow this organization. I brought this today to kind of give you a sense of who we are. As you all are aware, we formed a merger with Dignity Health Common Spirit. Common Spirit is the national corporation. It consists of 142 hospitals in 21 states. It's the second largest not-for-profit health system in the country. Recently took over 5 hospitals in Utah as we grow this organization. It's over 150,000 employees across the country. There are 7 divisions throughout the country, soon to be 5. We in Arizona are considered the Southwest Division with Maricopa County, with St. Joe's, Chandler Regional, Mercy Gilbert, Arizona General, ourselves in Yavapai here in Yavapai County, and then there's 5 hospitals in Las Vegas. Those consist of the Southwest Division. As I mentioned, you can see here there's, looking at the bed and the scale of our hospitals, St. Joe's obviously is a 600-bed hospital in Maricopa. Chandler Regional is about 430, and then Mercy Gilbert, they're together as a 219. Yavapai, we have 146 on the Prescott campus, and then 72 in the Prescott Valley. Arizona General is a small hospital, multiple emergency rooms, and then St. Joseph's Westgate is another satellite for St. Joe's in the west area of Maricopa, and then Arizona General. Yavapai Regional Medical Center has been in existence here for 80 years. This is our 80th anniversary. We'll be having a celebration in November. This hospital was established in 1943. The hospital, as you know it in Prescott, was established in 1964. In 2006, the East Campus opened in Prescott Valley. In 2007, we established the Heart Center at the Prescott campus with the Ron James family. In 2012, we had the first neurosurgical procedures performed in Prescott. In 2016, we opened up our TAVR program, which is the transaortic transcutaneous aortic valve replacement, which is a minimally invasive procedure, replacement of the aortic valve of the heart, which doesn't require a mid-sternal incision. In 2020, we affiliated with Dignity Health, which is also affiliated with Common Spirit, which was previously Catholic Health Institutes in the Midwest. And in 2021, we opened the new building on the west campus there, the outpatient services building. This is my current team. This team is all new. Myself, being in the position for about a year and a half now. Jeremy Murdoch came to us from Presbyterian in New Mexico. He ran the main hospital in addition to 6 satellite hospitals. Dr. Cynthia Booth is a obstetrician by training. She came to us from Banner Payson. Tracy McCollum is our chief nursing officer. She's been with us 2 years. Matt Rice has been with the organization for about 5 years as a CFO for the past year. Dr. Renelle Ekman is a pediatrician in the community. She's also our Vice President of Medical Affairs. And then Frank Almendarez is our Operations Administrator for the East Campus. This is a slide of our board officers. All our board members are voluntary at this point. We were a fiduciary board, and now we are an advisory board. So some of these are our community folks in the community, Marnie included. Thank you for being on our board. And this fills out the rest of our board here. Faces you may be familiar with. Dr. Tibby is our chief of staff and also our head cardiac surgeon in the community. I'm sure you're familiar with these two photos. The West Campus there you see in the top slide, 146 beds, our heart center, our level 4 trauma. The majority of our acute care is there at this point. And on the East Campus, the Prescott Valley Hospital has 72 beds, the family birthing center, our breast care center, and our infusion center in addition to our emergency room. Our strategic plan is part of our affiliation with Dignity Health is what's going to be expanding, and the majority of that is going to be on our East Campus. And just a recognition, this is just happened this week. Our collaboration and partnership with the Fane Group here in Prescott Valley is resulting in the acquisition of the 30 acres that are adjacent to our East Campus. So thank you to Brad and Ron for working with us. It's been a long kind of road, but this is a huge piece of our strategy moving forward. As you all know, Prescott Valley is growing at a pretty rapid rate, and obviously the capacity to grow is much greater there than it is in Prescott at this point in time. So huge plans for that 30 acres. It's going to be a big undertaking and probably take a while for us to get through it all, but we're glad to kick that off. So thank you to Brad and Ron. Here's some statistics of just kind of the scale of services we're providing in the community. We are the largest employer, not-for-profit hospital in the community. We have 422 physicians, 1,949 employees. We provide over 7,000 surgeries per year. These are stats from 290 open heart and thoracic surgical procedures. Our inpatient admissions for both campuses exceed 13,000, and our emergency room visits are in excess of 73,000. Those numbers probably for you all don't really kind of resonate, but I will tell you, for a community hospital and the services that we provide, we are a very unique organization. Most community hospitals don't have cardiac surgery. They don't have interventional cardiology or minimally invasive procedures. They don't have neurosurgery. They don't have advanced endoscopic studies for gastrointestinal disease, and usually don't have a breast care center at the scale that we do. So really unique situation we have for us here. That was part of the strategy in growing our ability to grow into the future because of the growth of the population and the area that we live in now. This is a slide just to kind of give you an idea of how the financial picture for us in this community really works. You can see here 65% of our pay, it comes from Medicare. The next highest is the other government is Medicaid is at 12%. So if you looked at that, that's about close to 80% of what we do is funded through the government. And if you work in healthcare, you know anything about how that works. The government is actually the worst payer. So what this does, it requires a lot of subsidy from the hospital to provide the services that we provide. So like I just said, neurosurgery, cardiac surgery, advanced endoscopy, those subsidies we pay to get those types of physicians into our community in order to be able to have those surgeries based on government pay. So you can see that as the government and insurers decrease the pay that they're paying to us, it's harder and harder in terms of investing in these groups of physicians. So the challenge we have that goes on is really around access to care. And the pandemic basically accelerated the degradation of that care model, the way you know it today. And part of the future, the direction we're going to be moving based on the finances is really the utilization of technology in that space, because by 2032, there's going to be 800,000 nurses short. There'll be 170, 180,000 physicians shortage. That's only 8, 9 years away. So we have to, as a rural community, we are already strapped with that competition of trying to get doctors here. So we are actively looking at different models of how we're going to deliver care with those limited resources, and the fact that the financing is going down and down. So a lot of work is going into that right now. Our medical group, we're expanding our medical group to kind of anticipate what's coming there. We're developing partnerships in the community. Yavapai College for their courage and development of the BSN program for nursing. And in addition, we're going to be working on other areas of workforce development to sustain the ability for us to have a continuous flow of employees that can provide those level of services as we move into the future. So this is kind of a reflection of what we have to look at to the future and how we're going to continue to provide those level of services at a highest quality. This is part of our technology. I'll just touch on a few things here that we've already put in place. Virtually integrated care. That's our newest assessment that we're using to assist our nurses. It's basically a virtual nurse that will come into your room in the hospital upon request and authorized by the patient to assist in bedside care. This is going to extend the ability of our nurses to provide bedside care, and it's going to extend the longevity of the nurses to actually stay in their career because this can be done remotely and it's done through a computer. So huge advantage, and we are grateful to have this going forward. We also have the VELUS robotic assisted solution for our knee replacements and ER and care advisors. And we will be having the Da Vinci robot coming to us within a few weeks for general surgery and other specialty surgical areas. This is a slide on our continuing investment in the community. We have 2 clinics, one on Lee Boulevard and one off of 89A and Viewpoint that we're currently working on right now to add primary care and specialty services. Some of our recruits that we have in the community that are new, orthopedics with Dr. Damien Alavecchios and John Wheeler. They'll be starting in the near future. We have a new neurosurgeon that will be starting in January. We also have a new general surgeon that will be starting in January. Work retention and recruitment, I kind of touched on that. Working with the college, developing programs to have a continuous flow of employees coming in to be able to deliver high quality care. And then lastly, really is part of my aim here is really to develop partnerships, collaboration in the community, and utilize your skill sets and your knowledge and your communication and your ability to extend in the community to provide information on what we're doing and how we're doing it and how we make this communities better for all of us moving into the future. Thank you.
That was Maury Thompson. I'm sorry, that was Dr. Anthony Torres with Dignity Health and Yavapai Regional Medical Center, and we appreciate that presentation. So much going on in our community, it's amazing. And our next speaker is Maury Thompson, County Manager with Yavapai County, with another PowerPoint.
I'll just hold it. Well, thank you, Allison. Good morning. As Allison said, my name is Maury Thompson. I'm the County Manager of Yavapai County. Have been in that role for a whole 10 months now. I'm very pleased to be here, and also I would mention a proud resident of Prescott Valley. So I'm starting here with the mission, and I won't read that to you, but I have that on the screen. That's the mission that the Board of Supervisors have laid out for your county government. So I thought I would start by giving you a brief overview of the structure of county government, and this is of particular importance because your Board of Supervisors made a very significant decision recently, actually on June 7th of this year, and they modified the form of county government from a county administrator to a county manager form of government. You might ask, so what does that mean? Well, with the administrator, the department heads of county government reported directly to the Board of Supervisors. They altered that again to a county manager form of government where those department heads report to the county manager. So again, a pretty significant change for Yavapai County. Not to speak for the Board of Supervisors, but I believe part of that was a recognition of the growing nature of not only our organization, but this county. As we all know, we're growing rapidly in terms of numbers, in terms of sophistication and services that we provide to the community. So again, the Board of Supervisors made that determination. With that, we altered our organizational chart, and I apologize, I know it's very hard to see. So I'll kind of walk you through what we have on the screen there. So at the top, of course, are the citizens of Yavapai County, who we are all responsible to. Down my left-hand side is the electeds in Yavapai County. So we have our courts and law enforcement. We have our Superior Court presiding judge, John Napper, many of you probably know. We have the Superior Court judges and our justices of the peace. We have court administration, adult probation, juvenile probation, and detention. We also have the clerk of the Superior Court, our county attorney, our sheriff's office, and our constables, really the law enforcement and courts section. Then below that, you'll see what I've called fiscal and property, which is the county assessor and county treasurer, the recorder, documents and voter registration, which is our county recorder, and finally, education, our county school superintendent. So that, along with the Board of Supervisors across the top there, are our elected officials and appointed in the county. Then you'll see the county manager, which is me, appointed by the Board of Supervisors. I have then divided up county government into, and I apologize, I caught last night, I've got an outdated org chart. I've already made a change to this. Now have 14 departments under the assistant county manager, who I have given responsibility for what I've called community services, which are those departments that interface directly with the citizens, the residents of the county. I am responsible, as you can see, for what I call the internal services. So I won't walk you through all of those different departments, but I would point out under the assistant county manager, you'll see community health services and community health clinic. That has been consolidated now into one department of community health services. And when I get to my job responsibilities, you'll see one of those is to make recommendations to better coordinate county government. That was one of the assessments that I made very quickly on, that I thought we could provide more efficient, coordinated healthcare services to the residents of this community through one department. So that change has been made. And finally, I always like to, when I'm sharing this, give credit to Pinal County. I really copied their org chart. I'm going to use this, so they did a good job. So your Board of Supervisors, what are they responsible for? Policy decisions, of course, for improving the lives of residents. So they set policy and then instruct staff to establish procedures to carry out their policies. They're, of course, responsible for budget adoption, setting taxes and levies, financing infrastructure improvements, and appointing county boards and commissions. We have 14 different county boards and commissions, and if any of you are looking for an opportunity to volunteer and give back to your community, we're always looking for folks to volunteer in that regard. You can go to our website and find those opportunities. I wouldn't note as mentioned under financing infrastructure improvements, also very pleased that the board has authorized what we're calling a space and planning study for countywide. A firm that we've engaged to come in to look at the quality and condition of every building that the county owns, make recommendations about what repairs need to be made to those, what ones we should abandon, and where we should build. Secondly, also looking at this community and saying where we should be located most strategically to provide services to our community. We hope to have that back by the end of the year, and that will help guide ongoing infrastructure decisions for the board. Okay, then the county manager, and many of you in the room have probably heard this analogy. If you were in the private sector, you would talk about a board of directors and the chairman of the board, and then you would have your chief executive officer. County manager really serves that role, and responsible for policy direction and leadership of county government, to coordinate government administrative functions. And I just gave you the example of looking at our organization and making recommendations, changes to better coordinate the services that we're providing. Intergovernmental relations with cities and towns. I spend a significant amount of my time visiting with my peers in our cities and towns across the county. Even though it's not related to this side of the mountain, I would pause here and give credit to current chairman James Gregory sitting back here. Both he and I have heard over the last 10 months, as the first of the year, us in our roles, that the other side of the mountain sometimes feeling neglected. So we have made a concerted effort to spend more time there and to get to know and work closely with the mayors and managers on that side of the mountain as well. And finally, to manage administrative regulations and with what time's left then, to oversee those day-to-day operations. So when I began to take a look at Yavapai County as a potential place to relocate and to work, I was very pleased when I started to look at the priorities that the current Board of Supervisors had laid out. They had three, and I'm paraphrasing here. One was to complete the existing capital projects, which, as many of you know, was our Justice Center, which has now been completed. To continue to look across the organization and attempt to find more effective and efficient means to provide our services. And thirdly, to compensate our employees well in order to create a robust workforce for our community. That one in particular struck me. Oftentimes in local government, you may see that as a focus, but I rarely have seen a board say, this is one of our strategic goals. I was very impressed by that, and they have done a good job of realizing that. So I thought this morning I would focus a little bit on workforce and the challenges that we're facing there. Again, I know I'm talking to the crowd here, the Chamber of Commerce, about the issues we've had with employment over the last few years. We've all heard of the Great Retirement. We're familiar with the labor shortages and the competition for talent. So I've laid out those challenges there. Again, I won't read those to you. So again, compensation and benefits has been an emphasis for the county. So when we talk about compensation, I thought I'd walk you through a little bit about what Yavapai County has done to address our vacancies. So again, no credit to me prior to me getting here. In July of 2022, the Board of Supervisors undertook a countywide compensation and classification study. That resulted in an average of 7% increase to the wages of our workforce. Then in July of 2022, the same time, they added a countywide cost of living adjustment to our workforce, which was 3.5%. So again, on average, about 10.5% in July of 22. We also then did this past July with the budget, adopted a countywide COLA of 5.73%. You might say, well, that's a kind of odd number. Why 5.73? The board adopted a 10-year look-back period in order to minimize the ups and downs of the economic cycle to make sure that we were able to afford but adequately compensate employees for changes in the cost of living. We also included a 3% merit pool this year in our budget for employees. We added on-call pay. We began to look around at our peers in Arizona and found out we were an outlier. We may have been the only one, in fact, who didn't have an on-call pay mechanism for our workforce. So the board has added that. And then we made changes to our compensation policy for advanced placement. And what I mean by that was ensuring that we weren't just bringing in employees at the minimum of their grade for the position, but actually compensating them based on their experience in the workforce. As we all know, though, there's more to creating a good workforce than just salary, but you also need to be looking at your benefit package. So you can see a list of enhancements we have made to our benefit package. The one that says increased PPO dependent subsidy, that's really talking about we increased the subsidy for our employees with family coverage from 25 to 35%, attempting to cover some of their cost. And a few more things here. So I would tell you, since July of 2022, in particular over this last year, all of the things that I've just laid out and covered are making a tremendous difference. We've seen our vacancies drop fairly dramatically. We're really working to get those positions filled in order to provide service to our community. So what does that mean in terms of dollars? So our general fund budget that the board just adopted is $149.5 million. And see there on the slide, 67.2% of that is comprised of salaries and benefits. Again, should be no surprise in an organization like government and nonprofit, where you're really a service organization, that's where your costs are. And then this is just a graphical representation of that. You can see salaries and employee-related expenses, 67% of that general fund budget. Our services, direct services, are another 25%. Capital expenditures, 2%. I would point out that that is a very low percentage of our general fund budget committed to capital expenditures. And not to get ahead of the board here, but we may see that change as we get the results from that survey, the space planning survey back, and begin to look at our needs across the county. So this slide lays out my strategic goals for our workforce, to train our leaders to be effective, to identify and develop next-in-line managers through succession planning, to train and invest in employees, and finally to keep employees happy, engaged, and motivated. But we all know it's not all about the money. It's about how you feel about your workplace, the culture. Workplace culture plays a big role in attracting and retaining employees. So we have conducted with a firm who's working with us over a year-long period, really help us to define our culture at Yavapai County and create a place where our employees want to be. And finally, I would direct you, if you would like more information, to our website, www.yavapaiaz.gov. Very proud of our new website. So if you haven't been out, please go out and take a look at that. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Maury Thompson, County Manager of Yavapai County. Our next speaker is Frank Sanderson, Director of the Northwest Division of APS.
Thank you, and great being here with you this morning. I just want to make sure everybody knows that if you're looking for this place and you're using the Apple direction thing on your phone, it'll take you down there. Super happy to be here. I'm very, very new to this area. Came here a bunch in the past. Moved here about 6 months ago with my family, my wife, and my 4 children. And I really shouldn't call them children because hopefully some of them are going to get booted out here pretty soon. I've got 2 still left in high school attending Tri-City Prep. Currently, we have moved here and we absolutely love this area. I am a native of northern Arizona. I actually grew up in northeast Arizona and began at APS about 17 years ago. And as an APS employee, I'm actually an electrician by trade. And so I can either fix something or mess it up so bad that nobody can fix it. But one thing, I'll go through a couple things that APS has going on right now, but the main thing I want to focus on is just like Darla DeVille says, we are your APS. And I couldn't ask for a better partner in this. Many of you, I'm sure, know Mackenzie Rogers or know Mackenzie Rogers, still a resident of this area, and I'm so glad to have her as a mentor and somebody I can rely on to really help serve this community as best as possible. Our goal is to provide safe, reliable, and affordable power. And in this current, situation we find ourselves in, we have a lot of growth. There's a lot of things going on, especially here in Prescott Valley. a lot of opportunity, and just like some of the other challenges that some of the other speakers have spoken to, we have those too. And then you add in energy policy and different things like that. It really, presents opportunity and challenge. APS, we maintain 18,000 miles of power line, and across the state of Arizona. Northern Arizona is one of the biggest service territories that we have. And as you can imagine, whether you're looking at Prescott Valley, up to Verde, Flagstaff, Snowflake, Payson, there's a lot of interesting terrain, and it's all different. We are committed to providing reliable power to our customers in those scenarios. We have a fantastic team here that provides service to the Prescott Valley area. I'm sure many of you know Robbie Houle. He is the supervisor of operations and maintenance, and he is actually a member of the board here in Prescott Valley. He couldn't be here today. He's actually on a plane to Seattle. Me being new here, if you like Robbie, you'll think I'm all right. And Matt Meyer-Bachtel is our supervisor of construction services. He supports a lot of the growth, things that are happening from a residential, commercial, and even a larger scale projects that are affecting the community and supporting the community. And so just to give you an idea of what we have here in Northern Arizona, we have 6 service centers that supports Northern Arizona, 1 in Payson, 1 in Snowflake, 1 in Flagstaff, 1 in the Verde Valley, 1 here in Prescott. We're just off of Corsair out by the airport. And then we have 1 in Wickenburg as well. And there's about 240 employees that support this area, and that's not counting all of the resources that we bring out of the metro area to support some of the growth. As you may know, our commitment to clean energy, and I do want to, make sure everybody understands the difference between clean energy and green energy. Green energy is your wind turbines, your solar, and batteries, things of that nature. Clean energy, we like to call, is also includes nuclear energy. And as the energy transition happens, one thing we want to make sure is that we are very cognizant. We put a lot of time and effort into what we can do to keep things affordable and yet meet our goals. And when we think about affordability, anything we do to build out infrastructure for growth, to support and maintain the lines, to support fire mitigation. I know that is a very, subject that's near and dear to my heart. We've made a lot of efforts around fire mitigation. When we look at a few years ago, we rolled out our fire mitigation plan, and we identified each feeder. A feeder is a different feed to each area that you live in, whether that's residential area, whether that's your business. And we looked at all of the feeders in Northern Arizona, and almost all of them fall within that program because of where they are, the vegetation that's near them, and the efforts we need to make around that to make sure that our communities are safe. And we've created a whole 30 or 40 individuals that support that program, and that manifests itself in a lot of different ways, between what our construction standards are, what's available in the area, where we put these things, and then from a maintenance perspective, the inspections, we do them on a regular basis. We utilize drone technology, different types of mitigations around what's around a pole, especially poles that have equipment on them like transformers. And I don't expect you guys to know transformers, regulators, switches, but we are consulting with utilities across the country on what are the best practices. How do we make sure that we keep our community safe and that we keep it affordable? The other thing I'd like to touch on is, what Darla would call, we are your APS. We are members of this community. You can imagine, one thing I really want to talk about is most of my career at APS has been in the Valley. I couldn't wait to get out. I'm super glad I'm not there anymore. And if anybody's from there, I apologize. I mean no offense. But it is fantastic living here, and it's fantastic the community that we have in northern Arizona. And I knew I would have to make the transition between, solely being an O&M type mindset. It's like, okay, it's broke, fix it. Or, hey, how can we make this better? To how do we engage ourselves in the community? How do we become part of the community? And I apologize. Some of the individuals that I've been able to network with since I've been here have already heard this. But like I said, I grew up in northeastern Arizona, and my grandfather, the only other person in my family that ever worked at APS, and I never thought I would be an electrician or work at APS, was a division manager in Holbrook. That's a good place to be from. And, this is back in the 50s and 60s. And my mom always tells a story of, some individual came to pay their bill. They didn't have enough money to pay their bill. And so my grandfather actually took a cow in collateral until they could pay their bill. And he actually had it, he actually sold hay and all different kinds of stuff. And he actually tied up the cow there at the service center. He may have gotten in a little bit of trouble for that. But one of the trademarks or key sayings within our industry is we're not your grandfather's utility anymore. Well, guess what? I'm here to say we are. At least in northern Arizona, we are your grandfather's utility. We are part of the community. We live here. Our kids go to school here. The success of your businesses, of your families, is on our mind all the time, whether that's from a reliability standpoint, where you have the electrical power to do school online, to run your business, to turn on the air conditioner in the summer and turn on the heat in the winter. And I just really want to stress that. And just to close out, I'm a John Wayne fan. I don't know if some of you might not even know who John Wayne is, but he's a hero of mine. And in one of the movies, knowing that Mackenzie Rogers, who did a fantastic job here, and I know many of you have a great relationship with her, and taking over for her has been not a challenge, but an opportunity for me to say, wow, she was doing some amazing things up here, and I want to carry that torch. And in one of John Wayne's movies, it's called The Sands of Iwo Jima, and to me, it's a great representation of leadership. And in that movie, his character is Sergeant Stryker, and it's one of the few movies that John Wayne actually dies in. And as part of that, he's always telling his troops, saddle up, when they're ready to go. Well, just after John Wayne passes away in this movie, one of his team picks up the guys and says, saddle up. And they continue charging up the hill. And that may not make a whole lot of sense to everybody here, but that is what I am endeavoring to do here. Be a part of the community, saddle up, carry on what Mackenzie, has done. make sure that we in the northern Arizona are providing safe, reliable, and affordable energy to our customers. So with that, thanks.
Thank you. That's Frank Sanderson, Director of Northwest Division of APS. And I want to say I love the story about the history and the cow. And speaking of history, our next speaker and his family have been involved in Prescott Valley for a very, very, very long time and have been very instrumental in our community. Inviting up Brad Fain, President CEO of Fain Signature Group.
Thank you, Allison. And Frank, I need to set a meeting with you because we have some cows. I didn't see that on my last APS bill. I said cash, check, Visa. I didn't see the cow box, but we might need to talk. When Marty asked me to come here and speak, I said absolutely, because from my father down to Ron, down to me, we have always believed Prescott Valley is an amazing place to live. And the credit goes to the business community. You guys built Prescott Valley. You guys made Prescott Valley what it is today because you came here. You brought jobs. You bring products. You bring consumer trade. You sign the front of the checks for employees to live here and make a living. And if it wasn't for the risk takers that are in the business community, we wouldn't have a community. And so I just was like, sure, I'll come. I want to give the community praise because you guys make Prescott Valley great. And I wanted to acknowledge all of you. So give yourself, if you're a business owner, if you work for a business, if you're trying to move things forward, give yourself a round of applause because you make Prescott Valley what it is today. So Marty said, keep it positive, keep it up. And I think that's really super easy in Prescott Valley. There is so much opportunity here. We have our challenges. And maybe we'll touch base on those, but there's so many great things happening in Prescott Valley. You just heard Dr. Torres said the hospital is going to make a major, major, major investment in downtown Prescott Valley to expand healthcare. And that's what we need because the better our healthcare as an employer group, as a workforce group, it matters to your employees. It matters to your people. You need good healthcare. So thank you for Dignity for making that commitment to our community because it's going to make it easier to attract people. And so that's what we need to see more of in Prescott Valley is those partnerships. And that's kind of where my theme is today is about partnerships. I think we're at a pivoting time in our community, and what it requires for us to all be successful is to have partnerships and collaboration. And I think it starts right here in this room with the business community. So we've got some great projects coming along that we're really super excited about. And we got some projects in the pipeline that we're super excited about. But they need some collaboration and some support from the business community to say, hey, these are important to us because businesses grow. Businesses need growth. And everybody, they say it's all rapid growth, fast growth, out of control growth. It's really not. When you look at our history, we're growing at a sustainable rate. We have our ups and downs. We have market cycles. We have to deal with that. But without growth, businesses go away. And we don't want to see all these great businesses in Prescott Valley leave our community because when they leave, then their employees leave and then people leave. And that hurts us all. So we need to keep an eye on how do we grow smart? How do we grow together? And what do we want our future to look like? And so part of that is, we have some great projects coming on. I'll touch base on them. One that's a little further down the road is called Parsons Preserve. That's going to be about a 540-acre residential community just up the road from Quailwood Heights and Quailwood Meadows, that area. And it's going to be a large lot development. And I think it's going to be the first large lot development in Prescott Valley where you can live on a large lot and have public infrastructure. So you're going to have water, sewer, electric, gas, all of that's going to be there. It's not going to be like living out in the county where you might have a well and a septic tank. So this is going to be the first one in Prescott Valley where you have all those amenities, which is really cool. That's an evolution of Prescott Valley, kind of making the next move forward that way. Some of you may have noticed we've got a project going in downtown Prescott Valley. We too are investing in downtown. That has been a 60-year project is downtown. And that's where a lot of businesses have put a lot of investment in Prescott Valley. The town has put a lot of investment in downtown Prescott Valley, and we have. And so we're building Legato Apartments. You may have seen it out there. It's 329 units. It will have. We're testing the market a little bit. We're going to have about 8,000 square foot of retail under, and everybody's always like, "Why don't you do retail on the ground floor and do living above it?" Because I see it down in Phoenix and it looks great. I see it at ASU and it's amazing. It's expensive, and in order to build it, people have to be willing to pay higher rents, which means the businesses that go there, it's harder for them to pay more rent, and they got to sell more product. And people don't. It's economics at the end of the day. And so we're testing it with just 8,000 feet to see if this market's ready for it. But we're really super excited about it, and we have a great partner. I talked about collaboration and partnerships. We have a great partner. We're putting a restaurant on the 6th floor. And Barry Barb, who many of you know, he has many restaurants in the Prescott area. Great following, great proprietor. He's going to be putting a restaurant on the 6th floor there. And I've seen the map of it, and it looks really exciting, but I'm going to let him announce what it is, its name, and the type of food. But I think you guys will all enjoy it, and it's going to have spectacular views. I was up there the other day standing on the 4th floor and looking out, and I was amazed that you could look to the south and you can see Stone Ridge Country Club. You can see the golf course. You can look to the west, and near and dear to me, you can see the ranch. So it's going to be some pretty amazing views from there for the residents that live there. That project, we expect to see the first phase move in end of next year, 4th quarter is what we're shooting for. 120 of the 329 will be open and starting to move in, and then it'll rapidly roll out between the 4th quarter of next year and April, I think, is our timeline to get the whole project built with the retail open and the restaurant open. So we're really excited about that. That's going to be a great addition to downtown Prescott Valley, and being in a rural community, but having some elements of urban living. There are people who want that. They want the convenience of being able to walk to the grocery store, walk to an event or a concert, walk to the movie theaters, walk to a restaurant, and they can walk to work because we're really close to some really large employers like Dignity, Print Pack, and My Windows. So it really kind of starting to create a little bit of that urban feel, but still keeping it very rural here in Prescott Valley. So we're excited about that. Another project that we have coming is Lakeshore 650. And this is another housing project that's off of Lakeshore and Fane Road. And the reason why I bring it up is because our company is really committed to what we heard around the room today, the struggles that are occurring in our market. Costs have gone through the roof. Inflation is through the roof. It doesn't matter what industry you are. We talk to lots of businesses, whether they're quasi-public, public, private, they all have the same challenges. I can't get people to come here. I convince them. We were talking to the school district. I convince great teachers to come down here, and then after a year they leave because they can't afford to live here. Our cost of living is getting out of whack with where we are as an economy and a business community. And so we have to address that. And so Lakeshore 650 is part of our concern, and we're working with partners to make it happen. We're partnering with, and I say partnering loosely, it's not like we're ownership equals, but we're working with Yavapai College to solve a need they have for affordable housing for their employees. And I don't want you to get stuck on affordable. I like the word attainable better. It's housing that's more reachable for our community. Right now, the average house costs 52% more than renting an apartment. 52% more. I just read that yesterday in the Wall Street Journal. When the housing market broke in 2008, 2009, that was 33% more. So we're already 52% more. So how is a young family going to move here and buy a home? Part of the American dream. It's slipping away. How is I'm looking over here at the chief, how are our firefighters going to live here? He can recruit them. There's people that want to be in the trade. They want to be firemen. They want to be police officers. They want to be nurses. They can't afford to live here. So Lakeshore is part of that. And the collaboration we need as a community, it starts right here. I believe the business community that built this town has the loudest voice. Because if you add up all your employees, you're the largest population. You need to let our elected officials know that you support them. Give them a pat on the back. It's a thankless job. They get beat up right and left. They get sucker punches. People just speaking out of, they don't know what they're talking about, but they're yelling at an elected leader. So let them know it's okay, that you have their back, you support them, because we need these projects, because when we lose them, I don't know if we can turn it around. And so we're excited about Lakeshore 650. We're excited about the hospital expanding. With expansion comes a lot of new jobs. Where are they going to live? We got to build houses. Yavapai College is doing a new program. Rodney talked about it a couple meetings ago. Like 1,000 new jobs they want to build or more. Where are they going to live? So we're super excited about Lakeshore because it is a project that will span the entry-level home, somebody just getting to start, a young family that wants to live here, move here, all the way to the empty nester home. I'm downsizing, I'm done, I raised my kids, and I don't want to maintain that big house, and everybody in between. It's not one size fits all. It's attainable. It's a nice home for the people that are in that situation. It's the starter home for people that are just starting out so they can build equity. It's everything. And that's what makes it cool. And that's Prescott Valley. That's what you guys built. And so we're super excited about that. There's some other projects that are out there. American Resorts is trying to come into the market. Same thing. They want to build a cool product that's reachable by the market. They want to build a big telescope out there that's open to everybody in the community so you can go out and stargaze. They want to respect our rural community, our dark skies, and go look at the stars. So there's lots of opportunity out there, and I think we're at the best of times in Prescott Valley, and we are also at the most challenging of times. And the challenging part is that darn thing called the computer. And somebody invented social media. I mean, it is like, there are a lot of really bold and brave people that sit at a keyboard at night and write things. And it's, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, you've probably been blasted by that. But that hurts because they project a louder voice than they are. And we've been doing neighborhood meetings and we've been doing all these things, and there's like 5 or 10 people that are at the core of this don't grow anymore. And then that 5 or 10 can get maybe 50 or 100 people to show up and yell at an elected official. And that influences the vote. But there's 50,000 people in Prescott Valley. Do 5 people represent 50,000? Do 100 represent 50,000? No. You guys have the workforce. You have the largest body, and we need to rally together and keep building this community, because our family is so grateful for each and every one of you that came here and put it down on the table and said, I'm going to open a business here. I'm going to move my family here. Frank just moved his family here. That's a capital investment by a family that said, I'm leaving where I was at because I think there's a better opportunity here. I'm going to put it on the line. So thank you, Frank, for doing that, and thank everybody who did that. So it's the best of times and it's scary times, and I'm going to leave you with a thought. And it's kind of a wealth thought, but I think it applies to Prescott Valley. When you're building wealth, you need to be able to take risk. And risk goes with that, because as you business owners out there, you put it on the line, you take a risk. But to keep wealth, you have to be paranoid about the future. Prescott Valley has built a great foundation because lots of people like you took a risk and put it on the table and made us who we are today. And now we need to be paranoid of losing that in the future. So thank you for all that you do. I'm so honored to be here and address the business community, because I truly believe you guys are the heart and soul of Prescott Valley, and thank you for your investment.
And that was Brad Fain, President, CEO of Fain Signature Group, with a lot of history and a lot of new things that you folks are doing. It's really incredible. And going along with the theme, truly, of the history, people with history, and working towards a better future for our community. I want to invite up Sanford Cohen, President, CEO of Arizona's Hometown Radio Group. He is an economist as well. He's going to speak on that. But Arizona's Hometown Radio Group has also sponsored. Okay, he's very excited about the Diamondbacks, as you can see, and for good reason. But anyway, they did also sponsor this breakfast. So before you speak, I want to thank you for sponsoring, and let's give him a round of applause. We really, really appreciate our sponsors. He has a lot to share with you today. So, and again, this is Arizona's Hometown Radio Group is very close to my heart. I spent a lot of years involved with it. So thank you, and here you go.
Hello. All right, so this past weekend, thanks to the FCC, we had to move our dial position one click over to 106.9. And as you can see, we've recycled our sign here to be environmentally sensitive. But nonetheless, for those of you that have us on in the car, it's time to reset your preset and go to 106.9 if you would. We are now currently broadcasting both on 106.7 and 106.9, but only until the weekend. So literally, you only have days to get off of 106.7 and get on 106.9. We would certainly advise that you do that. And for those that listen to our Spanish station, Juan, which is 107.1, that's got to move too. So that's going to 106.5, and we won't be moving that one until Wednesday, which is what, tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. So, you know, you wake up in the morning thinking that everything's going to be the same as it was yesterday, and wow, it all changes. But nonetheless, one thing that has changed for the better, and that's Prescott Valley. When we first started the radio station here in 1985, Prescott Valley's nickname was Poverty Valley. We were told that many times by folks in another community that shall remain nameless. But gradually, this community came of age. One of the watershed moments was when Warenberg Theaters went out of business, and everyone in Yavapai County had to go to Harkins Theater to see a movie. So for a lot of these people, this was the first time that they thought, I guess we got to go to Prescott Valley. And then they found that, wow, there's like things to do and places to eat and fun things. And gradually, Prescott Valley won them over. I can tell you that when we first got here, it was 1985. Prescott Valley had 3,200 people in the community. One paved road. Frontage roads were dirt. One paved road, and that was Robert Road, and they were paving it for the third time because they couldn't find the right mixture that would hold up to the freeze and thaw. And right after we got here was about the time that I went to see Norman Fain at Rafter 11 because he had a pool table for sale. And that moment turned into a couple hours about how this community not only was founded and had grown, but where it was going in the future. And it was really cool when I saw Norman when you were dedicating the chapel at Fain Park, and he was there, had been in a wheelchair, and he saw me, and he recognized me, remembered my name, and we hugged, and those are the kinds of people that, you know, look beyond themselves to create a community where we are free to then interact with each other and for the betterment of all. And that's what this has all been about. When the Fain family sold Shamrock Water Company to the town of Prescott Valley, it was time to let it go. And then the town of Prescott Valley, what'd they do? They created a world famous reclamation system that got them awards in London, England, which then allowed Larry Tarkowski to pull off what I consider to be the Tarkowski miracle, which was to eliminate septic tanks in the town of Prescott Valley, pave all the roads in Prescott Valley, and return a portion of the assessment to each property owner. How does that happen? How does that happen? Well, good planning, good strategy, well executed, but people that understand that it's not all about spending every last dime you got. There's no shame in returning a little something to the taxpayer. So as far as our radio station group is concerned, we have an announcement to make. Besides changing to 106.9, and besides changing to 106.5, we have entered into an agreement which will allow us to broadcast our Jack FM on 94.7 in Flagstaff and Sedona. So we are continuing to grow our operation through thick and thin, good times and bad, regardless of how things go. Unfortunately, I know it may seem a bit out of touch, but in 1981, when I was younger and getting my first home, my interest rate was 14.5%. And I locked in that 14.5% because from there the interest rate went to 21. So don't come crying to me because you got to pay 7.5% for a home loan. Yes, you have to prioritize what you want your family's future to be like. And certainly investing in real estate has been proven through good times and bad to be a safe bet. But if you thought that it was possible as an economist to take the current set of circumstances and try and somehow make sense out of them and give you some sort of worthwhile advice that will allow you to grow and prosper in the years to come, okay, we're going to give it a try. As Mayor Cal said at a couple meetings ago, I stood here in front of you in January of 2020 and proclaimed that there was absolutely no way that we would ever experience a recession of any kind, unless, of course, we had a worldwide pandemic that caused all businesses everywhere to shut down. And that was on January 20th of 2020, and unfortunately, that also turned out to be the case. So hopefully we won't be doing anything like that today. But what I will say, first of all, is by show of hands, how many of you would feel comfortable working remotely from home? And that's what COVID taught all of us, is that it's possible to maintain a business, some businesses, and work remotely from home. How many would not work remotely no matter what? You want to show up in a central location and be a part of a team, and you're a people person, and you can't just sit there and hibernate in your cave while work goes on. Okay, so I'm not trying to shame the people that raised their hands in the beginning. I'm just saying that the answer to how we go about navigating these choppy waters are going to rely on a couple of things. One is that we are going to have to recognize that there is going to be a role for automation and artificial intelligence. I do not like the term artificial intelligence. It is not artificial. Somebody does create the algorithm that leads that computer to make the decisions that it makes. It is not artificial. It just anonymous intelligence. As Brad talked about, it's scary to go out on social media and you're talking with or seeing messages from these people. You have no idea who they are, no idea where they come from, what their background is. Do they share your values or not? Are they trying to lure you in so they can turn on you at some point? You know, these are all things that we experience. And that's one of the things that has been gratifying, to run a radio station group where someone takes responsibility for the content. Someone you see, someone you know, someone that you have spoken to. And that's because we are a reflection of you. We take into account what we think you would like to hear, and then that's what we broadcast. And as a business owner, instead of your message being surrounded by negative reviews or anonymous postings or competitors or whatever, what we do is you control 100% of the message that you put out on our airwaves. Now, granted, we reserve the right to edit what is said, especially if you're trying to, convince us that, something deep fried and covered in sauce is somehow health food. We will step in and we will correct the record when it comes to that. But the fact is that, our role in Prescott Valley as the first radio station ever established here came as a result of, do we have our, yeah. You might need a little volume with this.
You're listening to The Mix, 106.7 FM, KPPV. Hi, everybody. This is Sanford Cohen. Along with my wife, Terry, we're the co-founders of Arizona's Hometown Radio Group. As a fellow small business owner and manager, now more than ever, you need to get the most out of your limited advertising budget. People say word of mouth is the best advertising. Word of mouth. But it takes too long. And besides, you have no control over what people say about you. We've put together a powerful combination of radio airtime, contests and promotions, exclusive sports, music, and talk franchises, all fully integrated with the internet at a price any business, large or small, can put to good use. Here, let's show you how it's done.
Do you have time for a pleasant experience?
Terry and I started the first radio station in Prescott Valley back in 1985. Our first antenna was mounted on a telephone pole next to the studio. Needless to say, we know what it's like to build a business from the ground up. To reach a larger audience, we built the first solar-powered FM radio station in the country in June of 1986. They say necessity is the mother of invention. Personally, I think desperation is a pretty good motivator too. Today, we offer you 4 radio stations on 6 frequencies, covering over 500,000 people, and 3 streaming websites that give you the ability to be heard and seen around the world. So as far as word-of-mouth advertising goes, we're pretty much the biggest mouth in town. But how does all that work for your business? Well, once you purchase advertising from us, your cost of production is zero. Zip. Nada. It's included. And our commercials will get you noticed. No more boring lists of brand names, addresses, and hours of operation. That's what we'll use the internet for. You see, sound is memorable. When you hear this, you get a picture of Mayberry in 5 seconds. Well, if you want a list of what's in Mayberry, that's where the internet connection can help. There's one undeniable fact. No matter what the economy does, local radio is always free to listen to and is used on a daily basis by over 95% of the American public. Now add to that our radio connection to the internet. You could have a presence on our websites for an additional cost. Plus, we bring you the ability to use coupons and email blasts if that's part of your marketing philosophy. Or you can simply take advantage of our free web listing, including a link to your website or an email address that listeners can use to contact you directly. Now, more than ever, you need to get as much as you can for your advertising dollar. With our 4 formats, adult contemporary, classic country, news talk sports, and classic hits on the river, plus the power of the internet, Arizona's Hometown Radio Group has an unbeatable combination of local marketing power to get people's attention focused on your business. Well, thank you for taking our quickie tour. I hope you'll join us and let us become your marketing partner. I guarantee that no one will work harder to help your business stay competitive. And nobody knows these markets and how to reach the people better than we do. So climb aboard and let's get to work. Thanks for tuning in to the Mix 106 KPPV. We now return you to your regular programming.
Done 16 years ago. So things have changed a little bit since then. But what has not changed is our role in the community, our role in the business community, and our affiliation with chambers of commerce all over the state. We have not only been an active partner here in Prescott Valley and in Prescott, Chino Valley, Cottonwood. We also are members in Havasu, Parker, Bullhead City. We just opened up a new operation in Bullhead City that is just getting underway as well. So once again, I just want to thank all of you for continuing to stay in business. Keep your head held high. Don't worry about what's going on in the world. Just worry about what's going on in this world, because this is where we've chosen to make our mark. Thank you so much.
And that was Sanford Cohen, President, CEO, and economist, Arizona's Hometown Radio Group. And that does wrap up our speakers. And weren't they amazing today? Let's give them all a... So I would like to invite up now the ambassadors so we can get the results of the 50-50 draw.